This is the last verse of chapter 10, verse 42, Gospel of Matthew. Jesus is wrapping up his conversation about the mission that he's sending the disciples on, and he's made some extraordinary statements here, beginning a couple of verses earlier when he says that the one that receives one of these disciples receives Christ, and the one who receives Christ receives God himself. And so there's a huge amount of dignity that's associated. And yet, as Jesus says elsewhere, he's sending them out as sheep among wolves, of course, without any particular weaponry to speak of, except the power of the word itself. He also makes mention of the fact that the one who receives a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. The one who receives a righteous man will receive a righteous man's reward. And if you follow the logic, he's now extending this in this last comment, when it really is the idea that he who receives you, one of these, as it were, defenseless little ones, is the idea that that person will also be rewarded for that reason. So in terms of the context, that seems to be the force of it. So Jesus says Kai, the connective, hos on, whoever. The on, contracted from aeon, will always introduce the subjunctive, and that's what we have here. So this is the aorist active subjunctive, third person singular. So whoever. Now this word potise literally means to give a drink. Well, it's actually means to drink something. It's a verb that we don't bring over literally because it doesn't quite make good English sense. But that's the idea. It's the force of it is to drink someone. Thus it takes a direct object, and that's this, henna. So it is, henna is the word for one. This is the substantive use of the adjective one. So whoever gives a drink to one ton mikron, one of the little ones, and then the demonstrative pronoun two ton. So one of these little ones would be the idea. I know it's popular to think of this in terms of little ones as in children and or defenseless ones, and that's a perfectly appropriate extension of the idea. But within the immediate context, what Jesus is saying is that as a word of encouragement to these disciples who are going out, as it were, as little ones, that anyone who will receive them in even the most modest way is going to receive the kind of reward that one of the disciples would himself receive as a result of his mission. So whoever gives a drink to one of these little ones. Now the poterion. Poterion is a word that is also related, you'll see, to pote. It means a cup, but it usually implies a cup of water. We've heard of potable water, of course. That means water that can be drunk, and that's the idea here. So gives a drink of water, and then sucro, this word means cold. Implied here is the word water. It's not really stated. Hudor is not present, but the verb itself implies water. So whoever gives a drink of cold water to one of these little ones, omonon, this is an indeclinable adverb. It means only. In other words, just even that much, just the tiniest display of cordial treatment to one of these who are serving in a mission on Christ. Ace, preposition takes the accusative onima mathetu, a name of a disciple. In other words, with the eye on the fact that this person is indeed a disciple of Christ. That's the reason for the show of hospitality. Then Jesus adds with emphasis, amen, lego humen, amen I say, lego humen, to you. Formula statement that Jesus will often use to add weight to what he's saying. Ume, never, taken together. These are the two negations to add, again, strength to it. Apolese, this is from Ptolemy, means to destroy, and ume here gives the idea of never to be destroyed. It will never be lost. Ton misthon, the reward, autu, of him. So it's a way of encouraging the disciples, and also a word that extends to all of those who may receive disciples down through history, that to receive them not with hostility but with hospitality means that the reward that goes to the disciple will be shared by those who extend such greetings and such warm care.